we offer in nomination with the greatest pleasure the name of Julian Bond.
Julian Bond is the 27-year-old legislator from Georgia.
How old are you? I'm 28.
Julian Bond, a name synonymous with the struggle for civil rights, dedicated his life to advocating for justice, equality, and democracy. Born on January 14, 1940, in Nashville, Tennessee, Bond's journey was not only about fighting for his rights, but paving the way for generations to come. From a young age, Bond was immersed in activism. He co-founded the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee in 1960, where he played a pivotal role in organizing voter registration drives and nonviolent protests against racial segregation.
Everybody liked him. He and one of the professors started this newspapers, and so a lot of the things that were written in the student movement he wrote. Julian stood out because he was, well, one, he was brilliant. His flow of the language, and was really a voice of the movement.
Bond's impact was felt far beyond the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. In 1965, he was elected to the Georgia House of Representatives, becoming one of the first African Americans elected since Reconstruction. However, his election was contested due to his stance against the Vietnam War, demonstrating the challenges faced by those who dared to challenge the status quo.
I live in the United States of America, and I feel when my country does something, if it does something I approve of or disagree with, it nevertheless does it in my name because I'm one of the citizens of this country. And I feel a greater responsibility towards setting my country straight.
Julian and his advocacy had a profound effect on the body politic of this country. Julian demonstrated that younger people were the tip of the spear in making change.
And how old is the vice president legally that you have to be by the Constitution?
35, I believe.
So it isn't likely that you're going to be a serious vice president nominee.
I don't know. This convention might mandate the Congress or request the Congress change the age by election time, and maybe I can make it.
Julian had been nominated for vice president on the floor at the Democratic Convention, and it turned out that he was just too young to be nominated. But so everybody in the country knew Julian, and everybody expected him to win easily.
And through the medium of television, other people in the nation about some of the issues that are not being discussed here, which are poverty, racism, war. There really have not been a great deal of free discussion.
Throughout his political career, Bond fought for civil rights, social justice, and education. He served as the chairman of the NAACP and was a long-standing advocate for the rights of the marginalized.
Julian had, I think, a message for younger people that is especially important today. Your time is now. Your time is now. And it's important to step up and fulfill your destiny. Julian helped lay that foundation in everything that he did.
Bond's commitment was reinforced by his experience at Morehouse College, where as a student, he was one of 8 individuals to take the only college course ever taught by Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
He said to me, yes, I did take that course, but I could kick myself because I never took one note in that class. And he said it has been really an embarrassment. I was more dedicated to the movement than I was to my classes. When he came to lecture, he could actually hypnotize you. You stayed riveted. He talked very fast, but every sentence was substantive. And you quickly knew this man knew what he was talking about. Very persuasive, so it didn't surprise me when he became the chair of of the board of directors of the NAACP.
Julian Bond's dedication to civil rights activism included a deep appreciation of the connection between economic justice and the ability to exercise civil liberties. His commitment to ensuring that all Americans have equal opportunities to achieve, regardless of their race, sexual orientation, or economic status, was a hallmark of his career.
Julian early on recognized that the passage of civil rights laws by themselves would not be enough to bring about justice and opportunity, that there had to be economic opportunity. If you didn't have the means to live a meaningful life, the economic means, then your life was still bounded and held back by the legacy and continuing discrimination.
Julian Bond helped shift the conversation around equality and opportunity in America. Julian Bond influenced my life greatly. As a little girl, I remember reading about him in Ebony magazine and Jet magazine. I remember my parents talking about him. I remember seeing him on television. And he struck me as being the kind of person who just didn't sit back and complain about things, but if he saw something wrong, he wanted to do something to make it right. Economic justice and financial liberation are core components of our civil and human rights, and Julian Bond understood that at a very fundamental level. He was one of the first amongst civil rights leaders to call out the injustices of predatory lending and discriminatory lending, payday lenders and check cashers. And he fought against those abusive and predatory forms of credit.
Julian Bond passed away on August 15th, 2015, but his spirit lives on in the hearts of those who continue to fight for justice.
I never had that last conversation. And I probably wouldn't have ever had a last conversation with Julian, simply because I liked him just as he was, and I couldn't improve upon him. I mean, it's like he and Martin Luther King were quite different. He and John Lewis were quite different. But we needed each one of those points of view.
His legacy is a reminder that activism and the fight for equality is a lifelong pursuit, one that requires dedication, courage, and an unwavering belief in the possibility of change. As we reflect on the life of Julian Bond, let us honor his legacy by continuing the work he started. Though the pursuit of equality, justice, and human rights is far from over, and it is both our legacy and our responsibility to keep fighting. This is the lesson we take from the exemplary life of Horace Julian Bond.